I've been reading this book, YouTube Secrets. It was written by one of the guys at Think Media. They produce a lot of videos that I think are really helpful for new YouTubers. And it's one of these like high-level books. It's more generalities than specifics. But I found in books like this, every once in a while, you come across concepts that can really help change your perspective on important things. The other day I did a video where in chapter 1 I came across a sentence where he said something to the effect of, find a motivation that's bigger than your challenges. And I'll post a link to the video in the end screen. But I thought that was really good. It really helped change my perspective and give me a perspective that I'd never really considered before. And later on in the book, I ran across a phrase. It was practice makes progress, right? And it's like, okay, when we're growing up, adults would always say, oh, practice makes perfect, right? And then there's always like the one adult who's like, oh, perfect practice makes perfect. And it's like, okay, it's like, that's fine, but like perfect is way up here. And for most of us, starting off on a creative journey, we're like down on the floor, right? And so like perfect is just, it's too daunting. It's way too far away. We can't possibly, be focused on perfect, but practice makes progress is beautiful because it brings it down to our level. And it says, look, as long as you're practicing, in a conscientious, deliberate manner, but as long as you're practicing, you're making progress. And it's wonderful because it helps to take the pressure off of ourselves that so often we put on ourselves in terms of like what kind of performance we think we ought to achieve, and in what time frame we ought to be able to achieve it. It's like, no, man, practice makes progress. As long as you're progressing, your trajectory is pointing in the right direction. And when I was thinking about this, I was thinking about like other phrases or sentences or concepts that can really help change your perspective, particularly when you're going through difficult times or when during times when you have become your own worst enemy. And there was a group, I guess most famous in the 1960s and 1970s, called the Moody Blues, and they have a song called In the Beginning, and I'll post a link in the end screen. Kind of a weird song, but I recommend you listen to it because there's this one line. It's face piles of trials with smiles. And it's beautiful. I've always loved that because it's almost hard to say without smiling, right? And so it's like, when you're feeling really daunted or really discouraged or like, you're really being hard on yourself, if you can have the presence of mind to think about, a phrase like that or, others that might work for you, it can really help, to put you in a much healthier psychological state. And of course, this reminds me of like Shakespeare's Hamlet. There is nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so, which is like, the grandfather of all of these things. It really speaks to just like, so much of how we go through life depends on our thoughts and, how we think about things. And I think, that and phrases like these are really helpful, particularly when we're going through challenging times. So hopefully, you've got phrases that work for you. If you don't, maybe some of these, might work to help take the pressure off. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.